I got to manipulate the screen to get it my okay. All right. I'm good.
Cool. Well, you're essentially live.
We're live.
So yeah, we're essentially live on YouTube and Facebook.
Absolutely live.
Absolutely live.
Wasn't that the Doors album?
Oh, yes, it was. You like the Doors? I'm a big fan of the Doors,
I am a
dude.
Doors fan.
Oh, nice. Who's your favorite Door? Is it Morrison, or do you like Creamer?
Well, I mean, I'm a drummer, Densmore, and you know, but Jim was the man.
Did you watch the Doors put out a new video? It was Ray and Densmore. They put out a new video where they covered Riders on the Storm with a bunch of artists from around the world.
Wow.
It is crazy good. I'll send it to you if I remember after this, because it was, I forget what the YouTube channel is called. It's like Artists for Change or something like that. And they had like people in Africa playing drums. They had like a drum circle, and it was amazing. So I'll send you a copy of that. Yeah, and then just like you see the two of them playing in a lawn, right, with a fence behind them and a sidewalk, and people just walking by like they have no idea who these people are. They're just sitting there playing Riders on the Storm. Couldn't imagine seeing that. Yeah, I'll send you a link to it.
So my name is Joe, and I'm in New Jersey, and I don't know anyone in the sense that I'm not on social media, so I'm not part of the Facebook groups or any of that. And George, as I said to you at the onset, the one thing I do like to do is from time to time check out your channel and the 12 Treasures website, which is really well done. You got a lot of tools, and it's just it's really cool.
I appreciate that.
From that, I found out about the Cleveland meetup, which I went to, and I was just really blown away. I mean, to really see that. George, congratulations to you and your lovely wife. I thought that was pretty cool too.
Thank you.
But yeah, man, to be in that place with John Jude Palancar, I thought was really something special. Really something special. So yeah, I mean, I want to talk about the Charleston theory. It's an interesting puzzle to me, and it differs from the other paintings. Obviously, in a lot of ways, but first and foremost, what I can see, the black paint. All right, so you see the artist Caravaggio. He was a Baroque artist, Italian artist. All right, and his paintings emerged from darkness, almost as if the subject or whatever he was that he was painting was illuminated by candlelight.
Mm-hmm.
So in that vein, this puzzle is indicative of tenebrism, which is similar to chiaroscura, which is that technique where the back of the painting is black, and what it really does, it makes the images pop.
Yeah.
Okay. So the images that we're seeing in this are popping almost as if you were in a darkened theater and we're looking at a stage. So yeah, I mean that's first and foremost. I mean, John Jude Palancar had tremendous skill as a young man. He has tremendous skill as an old man, but this puzzle is definitely special. So, biggest thing, we see a lion, a mask, a fairy. We see a branch and the flower. All right. So from the onset, we're going to agree that the coordinates are there. The map of Charleston in the mask is there. Okay. The inference to Treasure Island, the epilogue. I'm good with that. So the person who discovered that, I mean, that's a big feather in their cap. But if you look at this painting, these are symbols, and the painting is different from, let's say, Castle Hat in Chicago. All right, That's not to say it in a pejorative way that it's inferior in any way, but there are things in this painting that make them appear to have more meaning, almost as if there was something in the back, a meaning behind all of this.
Are you so
They're
you're
just too.
are you saying in this painting, instead of the others where there's like a subject of the painting and the puzzle's built around the subject of the painting, this is more like a curio cabinet, just a bunch of items?
Yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, thank you. And also the items have meaning.
Right, right.
The items certainly have meaning. So, for example, I'll start off, and again, I'm aware of certain theories, so I understand that some things I say may be heretical upon hearing to somebody who is a stringent believer in certain things, and that's
Uh-oh.
all fine and good. Uh, it is what it is. I think we have to be flexible in the way we look at things, and sometimes be willing to abandon an idea if it's wrong, or to just come up with a different way to look at it. Uh, if I come across as didactic, as if I come across as if I know more than you, uh, please don't take that as my intent. Um,
Same here.
this is merely my theory, and I don't have a cask, and it's still in the ground somewhere. But at some point, we got to make sense of this thing. So again, we look at the lion, we look at the mask, the fairy, we look at the pear, we look at the tree and an ornament. I'm going to call it an ornament hanging from the tree. So the tree appears to be a conifer tree, a pine. Uh, and to have the Fort Sumner ornament hanging from it would kind of enforce that idea that perhaps, all right, this was, a Christmas tree, but the idea that it's a pine is very important to my theory. All right. We also heard several times at the Cleveland meetup, and even before and after, George, I'm sure you've heard it before. John Jude Palancar spoke about misdirection. He spoke of ways to hide clues. I heard him in the Cleveland meetup specifically mention different techniques that he would use to hide images. So um, Byron Price and George, we mentioned this at the onset, but in the notes to Joe Ellen Trilling, and again, he was more talking about a cast, George, right? Correct?
Mhm.
Okay. He mentioned Africa, and I'm paraphrasing, but he says something to Joe Ellen. Now is our chance to make up for centuries of oppression. And then he says, like, ahem.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, that's really an important clue because it gives you the mindset that Byron had going into this, that if this was the puzzle for Africa, he wanted to make it special. And I think that I've discovered something that kind of makes this special, and I'd like to go over it with you. So, also, the puzzle is difficult. The jewel is a diamond, and I think we've heard somewhere along the way Byron said, uh, they get more difficult as the jewels are more extravagant. Am I correct in that, George?
The more valuable the gem, the
The more
more
valuable
difficult
the
the
gem.
puzzle. That's what he said.
All right, so I want to look at the image, and George, I'm going to see if I can share an image. And the image, I want to look at the actual painting. So I'll start screen sharing. Um, Window.
Let me know if you can. I can pull the image up.
I think it's coming up. Let me know if you get it there, George.
I don't see it.
Did it pop up?
No.
No. What if I? What if? entire screen. Okay.
It's okay if you can't, man. I'll pull it up.
Let me know. Oh man. Okay, something went wrong with your screen sharing permissions.
Oh, yeah. So it should ask your permission on like the top left-hand corner of your screen when you start to screen share. Generally left-hand corner.
Just try that again. So when I click screen sharing, it pops up, choose what to share.
Yeah.
Site. It says Chrome tab,
Yeah, that should work.
window.
Well, Chrome tab, window, or entire desktop. Probably entire desktop. Or
Entire screen. Okay. Okay.
it might just not let you.
Yeah, it's for some reason
I'll pull it up.
that's gonna make a problem.
Hang on.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, this is weird. There we go. Oof. That sucks.
You able to get it, George? The
Yeah,
image?
I pulled up I pulled it up. It's just not great. Let's see. Let's do this one. It's still not going to be great because it's kind of small, but yeah, it's there.
All right. So basically, if we look at this image, when we look at it, we're going to look at the right eye of the lion. All right. When you look at the right eye of the lion, you're going to see some stuff taking place on the forehead.
All right. Keep talking.
All
What
right.
I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to find this. I'm going to get this image and then, yeah, I'll make it a little easier for everybody else.
Yeah. When you look at as we look at the lion, you're going to look at that right eye. And you're going to look on the forehead. And with that, all of that is, again, there you go.
Oh, shit. Our writer is right.
Yeah, just go to the forehead, George, if you could. Okay. Now, whoever's been looking at that and poring over that and being vexed over that, don't feel bad. That is misdirection right there. That's John Jude Palancar, and he's using sleight of hand. He's drawing your eye to look here. George, could you pull the image down a little bit? I'm sorry, go up to the, yeah. Now, if you, right there, that's really what we want to look at. Now, if you look at that face, if you look at that silhouette there, you're going to see a profile. And that profile is of a very distinct figure. You're going to see the right side of your screen. That's a chin. You keep going up, you're going to see a mouth, a mustache, and you're going to see a nose. All right. So, George, if you pull the image down to the pair. Okay, so we'll leave it on the pair there. That's a pretty big clue. So what we're going to do now is go to the Japanese hints. So just if you could leave that up there, that's pretty cool. So the Japanese hint, and this is where I kind of looked at it again. We talk about the Japanese hints, and he says men of first he says romance, and then he says men of tales and tunes. What kind of men are these? The word romance is there, but does not think of it literally. In Japan, we think of romance as being a romantic story or two people that love each other. However, that is not the case in Middle Ages Europe. Okay, so if we go back and first we just remember that last line in Middle Ages Europe. So we think about the beginning of the verse. Hold on one second. And let me just get that verse there. All right, so the puzzle reads, of all the romance retold, men of tales and tunes cruel and bold, seen here by eyes of old. So that those first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, those first 5 lines, you could attribute that to Treasure Island and say, yeah, I mean that's it. That's the epilogue. That's the beginning of the puzzle. But when you really think about it, all right, and that's a good thing. You get to the pirate monument on the I believe that's is that the northern part of the puzzle or the park in White Point Garden. But if you really think about it, once you get that part and you say, all right, we're talking about Treasure Island, and all right, the biggest theme that we take from Treasure Island is that he's talking about a treasure map. So we just keep that in mind. But again, if we think about Middle Ages Europe and we look at the images, it doesn't jibe with Treasure Island. It can't. Middle Ages Europe romance, what we're talking about is, for example, what kind of romances were there? So, for example, you had Chrétien de Troyes, Arthurian romances, King Arthur. You also had something else called Shakespearean romances. So, what I'm positing here is that the pair and the silhouette are talking of William Shakespeare. And the images within this puzzle are talking about a specific Shakespeare play called The Tempest.
Okay.
The Tempest was written in 1610. It was the last of Shakespeare's plays. Let me just see something here. Okay, it's the last of Shakespeare's plays. You hear me correctly, George, right?
Yes.
All right. So in the play, there was a wizard named Prospero. Prospero was the Duke of Milan. Prospero started to study magic. What happened to Prospero was his brother Antonio conspires with King Alonso of Naples to overthrow and usurp Prospero's position. Prospero is then exiled and he ends up on an island with his daughter. The island is inhabited by, he finds a fairy, and the fairy is imprisoned in a cloven pine, a tree. So the fairy is enslaved. Additionally, the witch that cast her there, her name was Sycorax. She's no longer on the island, but on the island is her son Caliban. He was born on the island and still lives there. So Prospero discovers the fairy. Her name is Ariel, and he frees her. But she becomes his servant, as well as Caliban. So Both Caliban and Ariel are indentured slaves and servants to do the bidding of Prospero. So Prospero is plotting revenge. He wants to take back his dukedom. Returning from Africa on a ship is Prospero's brother Antonio, who is now the Duke of Milan. King Alonso is also on the ship, and Prospero uses magic to create a tempest, a giant storm, to bring that ship to his island, which he does. Okay, so there's a cast of characters that are now on the island. The ship is washed ashore on Prospero's island. So, without getting into it and going down the rabbit hole of the story of the Tempest, the themes of the Tempest are actually here. So we're looking at a fairy. We're looking at a lion. So the lion symbolizes Africa. What the lion also symbolizes is the name Ariel. So in Hebrew, lion is Ariel. So I'm going to just touch upon a couple of things that I think happen in this puzzle. There are three types of clues. All right. There are regular clues that we can see that will be clues that'll lead us to a dig site. There are literary clues, and there are alternate plane clues. So the literary clues are the pear, the pine, the fairy, the lion, and they work in a way to tell a sub story of something that's actually going on. So the story of this, the theme of this, is that this is Africa. The story of the the Tempest, has long been studied as being analogous with colonialism and slavery. All right, so the story of slavery has been studied through the eons of these figures in the Tempest. George, can you back out of the image and just let me see you there for a minute? There we go. I'm just trying to see if I can share the screen another time and another way, because I do have clues here or images.
Searching around for my glasses. I can't find my glasses. Oh well. It's fine. I know what we're talking about.
You good, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Oh, we got black. It's a screen of me. So you got screen sharing.
Screen?
You got screen sharing, but it's of me.
Oh, I got screen sharing of you.
Yeah.
Now, how in the world?
It's because you've got the browser open, and it's me.
Wow.
It's okay.
Let's see. Let me.
We'll get there, man. We'll figure it out.
Let's see. Yeah, I hope so, because I have some images that I'd like to show you.
Well, I mean, it looks like it's just like on your desktop, maybe. So try opening something like another tab or something. I don't know. This is fun.
Are you able to see that image, or you only
Nope.
you only
Only
see
see me? Yeah, dude. It sucks. Technology sucks. Try opening up a new tab. Maybe? I don't know. There we go. There's a new tab. It's your settings.
Jeez. Just trying something real quick.
You're fine, man. Totally fine. I am legitimately taking the time to find my glasses.
I don't know if you could see that image, but this is actually on my phone. I'm showing an image, and basically you can find this on the internet.
I can probably see it if you stop screen sharing, because I can totally see. Yeah, stop screen sharing, and then I could totally see it.
All right, let me try that. Try and do it a manual way. You able to see that?
William the Pear?
Yeah. So basically, I'm showing you that because for the longest time, William Shakespeare is a play on words where there's an association with a pear.
Okay.
So it's not just a random thing. So okay. Moving along from the literary clues that we talked about. So we talked about a theme that's taking place, and the theme that's taking place in The Tempest is slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So what these literary clues do is they kind of make the puzzle more difficult than it really is, because if you're searching for the pear and you want it to be the Pearman Bridge, you can do that. It's not necessarily going to help you. If you look at the fairy, you have to provide some kind of meaning to it. So the African mask, again, we talked about, and particularly in the 1970s, is when they really started to break down the Tempest as post-colonial. So there was a lot of studies liking it to colonialism. You had productions such as Jonathan Miller's 1970 version cast Ariel and Caliban as indigenous subjects oppressed by the white European colonizer. What you also see in 1968 is a work by Edward Brathwaite. And the name of the work is called Masks. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the cover of it. All right. That would have been in 1968. So Edward Brathwaite actually wrote a poem about Caliban from The Tempest, and he associated that with the peril of African Americans and slavery. So in this puzzle, he talks about, for example, the limbo, like people doing a dance, the limbo, and you see the limbo, and what that actually was a way that survivors of that slave trade memorialized conditions on the slave ships, ships that were taking the Middle Passage. Okay, so the Middle Passage is where they're bringing slaves on slave ships to Boston. Charleston is another one. The work Masks, the poem Caliban, is also featured in his book in 1973, The Arrivants. Okay, so Edward Brathwaite would have used that poem also in The Arrivants. Again, talking about the slave trade, the Middle Passage. going back to the epilogue, to the hesitating purchaser. Basically, he's talking about romance, as we said, in a historical way. So I originally assumed this to be the pirate monument. However, the more I thought about it, and the more I thought about of all the romance retold, men of tales and tunes, cruel and bold, seen here by eyes of old. I thought about a landmark in Charleston, and the landmark is the Dock Street Theater. All right. So the Dock Street Theater was open in 1736, and it was designed for the purpose of theatrical performances. Okay, so it's very plausible that this Shakespearean play, The Tempest, could have been played in that theater on Dock Street. Now, the important thing for this puzzle is the location of the Dock Street Theater, and it's on Church Street. That's important. We're gonna come back to that a little bit. So basically, again, the literary clues, we have the lion. Lion in Hebrew, the name is Ariel. The lion also symbolizes Africa. So you have the lion to actually help give you the name of the fairy. The fairy's name is Ariel. The mask in the image, the African fang mask. The African fang mask represents Caliban. So both Ariel and Caliban were enslaved on this island. You'll also find a literary clue in the image, which is basically a rope. And George, I know you know where that rope is. It's hanging over what appears to be a mast. So that rope could be like a halyard or something that indicates a ship. So basically, in this story, we have a ship that's coming actually from Africa, and that rope would lead you to that the fact that we're talking about a ship. So now to look at the image again, and we look at some literal clues. What we do now is we look at Fort Sumter. And what do we have in Fort Sumter? What we have in Fort Sumter, you have the two images, you have teeth, you have a star, and you have some stripes. All right. So the Fort Sumter is there, but what we're looking for is something a little bit deeper. We're looking for the Fort Sumter Hotel. So these teeth, the eyes, and what could be interpreted as a military symbol with the star and the stripes are indicative of the Fort Sumter Hotel. The Fort Sumter Hotel, the address is 1 King Street. It's literally on the Battery.
Yes. You can bring them in. It's fine. This is Joe. He was at our wedding.
Joe.
She can't hear you.
Hey, how are you?
She can't hear you, Joe. He said how.
Oh, good. I couldn't find your glasses apparently.
Oh no, this is them. Thank you.
I know. Me and Destiny.
This is Destiny's case. It's empty. It was just sitting on my desk.
Why are you
I don't know. She.
still in her case?
I'm not stealing it. Okay, cool. Dirty glasses. Okay, sorry, Joe. Keep going, please.
That's all right. Yeah, that really sucks that I can't get that going, but that's okay. Okay, so basically what I'm talking about, and I have a bunch of images, and it's so frustrating that I can't share these images with you.
Can you email them to me?
Interesting. Yeah, I could probably do that.
Just pick out whichever ones are going to be important and throw them in an email, and I can throw them on screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if I can.
Excuse me. And in the comments, everybody's basically following what you're saying. Anyway, so unless it's like really image heavy, like unless you have to see them,
Well,
it's up to you.
well, I mean, one of them is definitely image heavy. It's going to be at the end, but I just want everybody to know. Go ahead and Google it. And basically, what I'm going to tell you why this is important is because these symbols on Fort Sumter are indicative of a particular person. The person that they're indicative of is John F. Kennedy Jr. Okay? John F. Kennedy Jr. was a war hero. John F. Kennedy was the lieutenant of a PT boat, okay, in World War II, the famous PT 109, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to Google an image of a PT boat, again, it's a torpedo boat. They, in many instances, were designed with teeth. So if you Google an image of a PT boat, you're going to see teeth around the front of it.
Oh, you mean
You're
like
see,
as like a design element,
as a design,
like
yeah.
if it was a shark.
As if it's shark teeth.
John, his boat had that, right? John
His boat
JFK's.
no,
It didn't.
I don't think his boat did.
Okay.
But if you just Google PT boat teeth,
Okay.
you're gonna come up with an image that's actually going to show you a PT boat, and they were wooden boats. They were light, they were fast, and they were outfitted with torpedoes, 2 actually.
Yeah.
So the torpedoes are what you're looking at is the eyelids. All right. So you got 2 torpedoes, you got the teeth, and you got some military signs. So just to keep going and tell you the story as you go ahead and do that, in World War II, actually on August 2nd, 1943, here you go, George. There you go. Now, if you were to get an image that would have had the top of that, you're going to see they're outfitted with 2 torpedoes.
Uh-huh.
So basically, what I'm positing is the teeth, the 2 eyelids, they're torpedoes. They're talking about a torpedo boat. The reason why they're talking about that is because they're talking about John F. Kennedy. And let me just tell you a story about the PT boat. On August 2nd, 1943, JFK, he was a lieutenant of the boat. His boat was rammed by a Japanese destroyer, the Amagiri, and it basically split his boat into 2. Basically, Kennedy saved the whole crew. He's a great swimmer. He had to swim for miles. In one instance, he actually was towing a guy with a rope clenched in his teeth as he was taking this guy back to this island. They end up on an island, and it's an unmanned island, and they're basically hanging out, and they're basically trying to survive. Interestingly enough, just a little aside, JFK actually scrawls a message on the coconut, and he sees a native fisher, he gives it to him, and he's able to get rescued because he took quick thinking actions. He saved his men, and they came and rescued him. For his courage and his boldness, he was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal. So that's important, all right? So you could look at that image, you could look at those stripes, you could look at that star, and basically you could associate that because Kennedy, for his courage and his boldness, he was awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal. John F. Kennedy actually stayed at the Fort Sumter Hotel in 1942. He had a tryst going on with a suspected German spy. Her name was Inga Arvad. All right, so we have an association to get you to the hotel. The Fort Sumter Hotel, the U.S. Navy was also headquartered there. The 6th Naval District, July 22nd, 1942. Why is that important? Because we see in the image, in the scrolling, you're going to see scrawled the word Navy, and it's up around the forehead of the lion. All right, because if you were to see a military sign, what what would you think? Would you know it's Army, Navy? No, you would. He'd have to. John Jude Palancar would have to let you know that he was talking about the Navy. The association was the Navy stayed right there in that hotel, right on the Battery, right at White Point Garden. And then we'll get into the regular clues. So we'll continue. We talked about literary clues again at the beginning, at the offset. We talked about the coordinates. We talked about Charleston being in the head of the mask. All right, so stand and listen to the birds. All right, so read the verse again. Stand and listen to the birds. It's the bandstand, right? I mean, everyone pretty much agrees with the fact that it's the bandstand.
Yeah.
When you do this puzzle, I mean, it's really imperative to have this book because it explains all the monuments, but it's also going to give you this map. All right. And that map is actually going to show you where these monuments are. And again, guys, I really apologize. For whatever reason, I'm unable to bring up my my pictures. I had all of this, and it would have made it a lot easier for you to follow along with what I'm trying to say. These are complex things that cover a lot of ground. So, stand and listen to the birds. I agree. We're talking about the bandstand. The bandstand, if you were to look at that map, it's numbered number 31, which puts it at Meeting Street. If you look at the map shows you Meeting Street and Church Street. Hear the cool, clear sound of water. The Hunley Monument. We agree about that.
Yes. Well, no, but I'm going to go forward with you.
Okay. The Hunley Monument, basically there's a fountain.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Every time somebody says the Hunley Monument, I assume we're talking about that monument at the top end of the park.
Yeah, no. So basically, the two monuments that we're talking about, they're both lined up with Meeting Street. And you could see that on that map. So basically, if you look at White Point Garden, you have a series of paths, and they're not named.
Mm-hmm.
So if Byron were to bury a cask near any one of the monuments, he'd have to find a way to associate where that monument was. So lining up the monuments with Meeting Street, Church Street, it's going to become important. Then when he says hearken to the words, all right, when he says hearken to the words, all right, the word hearken, if you read The Tempest, it's Old English. I mean, we still use it today, but most people don't say, hey, hearken, you know. It's taken to mean listen, all right? We'll take it to mean listen. But again, there's an association with The Tempest.
That just means pay attention.
Freedom at the birth of a century. Denmark Vesey. Denmark Vesey was well known in the town of Charleston. He was a slave who won a lottery. He won $1,500, a massive sum. And he basically purchased his freedom for like $600. And his freedom came December 31st, 1799. That's the birth of a century. So Denmark Vesey is, again, closely associated with the history of Charleston. He basically founded the African Methodist Church, which is up closer. It's off Church Street, but it's in that area that's close to Church Street, Phillip Street, Calhoun. But basically, he was born into slavery. So again, we have this theme of slavery. He was born into slavery in the Caribbean. After he purchased his own freedom, he tried to purchase his wife's freedom. He developed a plan in that church to basically free all slaves. It was an uprising to free all slaves. Unfortunately for him, he was caught and he was hanged. But he's a very important, well-known name in Charleston. So you look at the way that the verse is structured, and I'll read it to you. But basically, again, freedom at the birth of a century, or May 1913. The next line, Edwin and Edwina, named after him, or on the 8th of scene. So let's just think about that for 1 second. You have 4 lines. Freedom at the birth of a century, or May 1913. May 1913, the capstan. But they're associated, it's almost in my mind, the way I think about it, I say, it's almost as if Byron is saying, yes, there's a monument, May 1913, but Denmark Vesey also could have had a monument in this park, but he doesn't. The next line works in the same way. Edwin and Edwina, named after him, or on the 8th of scene. So basically, Edwin and Edwina, you're going to have Edwin G. Harleston, his son, Edward A. Harleston, and their niece, her name was also Edwina Harleston. This is important because, again, Edwin G. Harleston, his mother was a slave. He basically rose from out of that. He was the son of a planter, and the planter's wife, excuse me, his mother was a slave. So basically, Edwin and Edwina were named after him. The verse is actually working the same way. So they're connected by the word or. And again, or on the 8th of scene. So basically, he's taking 2 well-known people in Charleston that play a historical significance to the town of Charleston, and both have connections to slavery. Now, on the 8th of scene, where law defended between 2 arms extended. Okay? That's going to be the Moultrie Monument. You could literally go from the capstan, which is in the center up on top at the East Battery. You could walk down to the Moultrie Monument. You could face the monument. You could stand right in front of the monument, and you could literally count 2 plaques on each side. Top, bottom, 1, 2, right and left, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You go to the back side of the monument, 7, 8. So basically, when you get to that bottom plaque in the back of the monument is where you actually going to see a scene. And the scene is it's a classic image. I'm sure everybody's seen it, perusing and looking for this treasure. But basically, it commemorates the Battle of Sullivan's Island. And what you're going to see is...
You're talking about the defenders of Moultrie Monument.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, just making sure you're not talking about the actual Moultrie Monument.
No,
the defenders.
No. I'll actually...
Where the Moultrie Monument, where the bandstand or where the capstan used to be.
No.
So the defenders.
Yeah, let me. I actually want to show you.
Okay.
This way we'll eliminate
we're on the same page.
any
Okay.
confusion. It's called the Fort Moultrie Monument. You able to see that?
Yeah. What's a picture? Move your picture to your left. Okay. Yeah. All right, I got you.
So if I send defenders, I didn't.
No, you're fine.
It's
fine.
the Fort Moultrie Monument. All right. So basically, if if you're looking at the monument, you're in the front of it. You're going to count 1, 2, two plaques, brass plaques. 1, 2. You go to the side. 3, 4. You go to the other side. 3, 4, 5, 6. You go to the back side of the monument. This is important. 7, 8. And basically on the 8th, a scene where law defended between two arms extended. So if you were to look at the map on this book,
So
you're going to see.
You got a bunch of arguments in the comments. Let me clarify real quick. There's the Defenders of the Confederate monument, which is on the corner. This is not clarifying for you, Joe. This is clarifying for comments. There's the Defenders of the Confederate, which is on the corner. There's the Jasper monument, which is technically the Defenders of Fort Moultrie, and then there's the Fort Moultrie monument.
Jamil?
So he's talking about the Defenders of Fort Moultrie monument.
Get me water, please. So, yeah, I mean, it's important because water, please. What it's actually doing is it's taking you to a spot that lines you up, and it's a center monument that lines up exactly with Church Street. Again,
yeah.
Church Street is very important to the solve. So let me just explain the scene to you, George. I know that you know what it is. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So when you look at it, you're gonna basically see Moultrie, and he's got the flag, and the story is he's saving that flag. The flag was torn down. Again, this is the Battle of Sullivan's Island. So basically, the Fort Moultrie was built with palmetto logs. All right. So I mean, it's a fierce battle going on with the British, and they're actually defending this thing, and you have an image of a guy at the bottom, and he got his hands up, and in between his two arms extended, you're going to see that flag. So basically, I initially thought that the two arms extended were two perimeter cannons at White Point Garden. So basically, the monument that I'm talking about, just so there's no confusion. Just to say it again, George, I'll show you a picture.
Just trying to find more pictures of that.
Yeah, I mean it's famous. It's a really cool. I mean, it's awesome.
Most people, awesome. So just so people know, the monument you're talking about, most people in the secret community call it the Jasper Monument, but I think I found a photo of the plaque you're talking about, so I'm going to move it over and show people. That one.
All right, now, you see how his arms are extended? With the law defended between two arms extended, the law defended, basically the militia defended the flag. Inscripted on the monument, it actually says, let us not fight without a flag. Just as an interesting aside, I now believe it. I initially believed it, that again, they were talking about this plaque, but the two arms extended were two perimeter cannons on both sides of Church Street, right at the end. One of them is still there. The other one is long gone. But that cannon, if you look at the book, this book, that cannon is there. But there's another part of the puzzle that specifically talks about arms. Again, I now believe it to be two arms extended. He's talking about that. So what he's actually doing is he's leading you to this monument. This monument from the other one lines you up with Church Street. So Church Street, again, it's important for a couple of reasons. But back to the verse. With law defended between two arms extended. The rest of this, the next 1, 2, 1, 2. Below the bar that binds, beside the long palm's shadow, embedded in the sand, waits the fair remuneration, White House close at hand. The White House, I think most people would agree, is the Villa Margarita. Where is it located? Church Street, right on the corner of Church Street. So here, here is where we get into what I'm going to call, and I mentioned at the outset, are clues of the alternate plane. All right, clues of the alternate plane. Below the bar that binds, beside the long pomp shadow. If you are in White Point Garden and you're looking for a shadow of a palm tree, Byron's got you. He's got you. He tricked you. And everybody does. I'm sure everybody has actually been there. But we'll come back to that in a minute. I just want to go back and mention again why Church Street is important. So also on Church Street, again, I mentioned to you the theater. I believed that the Dock Street Theater was important. Where is it located? It's located on Church Street. You also have a cross in the image. That cross is indicative of Church Street, but you also have St. Philip's Episcopal right on Church Street, the landmark, very famous church. A clue of the alternate plane is, I'll give you an example of a clue of the alternate plane. If you go to the Roanoke theory, the Roanoke puzzle, and you talk about the land near the window. Is that what it says, George?
Yes.
Okay. You're not looking for a literal window. You're looking in the painting. So,
Okay.
yes or no?
I mean, it's a window in a painting, but yeah.
I mean, wouldn't most people say that the land in the window, once he mentions that in the verse, he's talking about the painting.
Yeah.
You can.
The window in the painting, yeah. The land by the
So
window.
just think about it. Here you have an example of Byron actually using the verse to reference the painting. I mean, you wouldn't think it works that way, but really put that in your mind and think about what he's doing there, because he's also doing it here. I also want to mention, again, you have landmarks all over the park. You have different guns. The gun that I want to talk about is the 13-inch gun. All right, there are 4 of these 13-inch cannons.
Somebody in the comments asked if you're the same Josie that did some YouTube solves for The Secret.
No,
Okay.
no, you haven't. You haven't seen me before. I know. Basically, one guy that I met at the meetup was
Joe?
Cam.
Oh,
Cameron Croft.
Cam's a nice guy.
Cam's a really cool dude. Me and him are gonna look for the Montreal cast. But basically, yeah, I don't really know the other people. So the 13-inch cannon is important. There are 4 of them. All right, but basically, and there are a number of cannons in this park. Let's just take the idea that Byron Price would have taken a cask and buried it near one of the cannons. If there were 4 of the same cannon, how would you know which one he was talking about? So that's important because, again, I've talked to you of a lot of different things. I've mentioned a few different landmarks. I've mentioned 2 different landmarks: the Fort Sumter Hotel, which is at King Street, the Capstan, which is at the complete opposite end of the park. So he's almost triangulating. He gives you the bandstand. He uses 2 famous people from Charleston that are associated with slavery and attaches them to do 2 different center monuments. That center monument that he brings to you, or on the 8th, a scene where law defended between 2 arms extended. All right, you're gonna have Church Street. That's where it is. So now, when we get to clues of the alternate plane, we got to go back to the image. Uh, George, can you pull that image up again?
Yep.
The painting. George, let's get the fairy. All right, there we go. All right. So we talked about this painting being special. Talked about in the beginning, tenebrism being used, the black. We talked about a literary clue, and the literary clue is the fairy Ariel being confined. She's imprisoned. She's imprisoned in a cloven pine. When we look at this image, basically, again, you could look at some things, and you could look at her sash, if you want to call it, down at the bottom. You could look at that piece of paint and say that looks very similar to the side of one of the 13-inch cannons, right? Right in her midsection, right there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at her left leg, or excuse me, it's her right leg, but it's on our left.
Right.
So her actual right leg is crossing over her left. George, can you just
Yep. Gotcha.
we want to see the bottom of the. All right. So if you look at her feet, you're gonna see movement there, right? I'm gonna call that uh, pixie dust. You see that blue paint?
Mhm.
You're gonna see, and you could go back to the Chicago painting when he drew like the image match for the little fairy that's pouring water. And you could look at that, and it's basically outlined with that same kind of blue paint. We'll call it pixie dust because it's important. It means something. So this puzzle requires you to be interactive with the puzzle. You need to do something with the puzzle. You need to do something to the puzzle. So we're going to go back to the line. The last four lines. Again, I'm calling these alternate plane clues. Below the bar that binds, beside the long palm shadow. We're just going to take those two lines. I'm going to say, what in God's name is he, what is that? And you go to the Japanese clues, and, Byron is giving these clues to, a Japanese audience, and he's probably recognized that this is like super hard. I got to give him something. So I'll read it to you verbatim. Now, George, you can talk a little bit about how these translations came about. They're a little confusing, and you almost can't take them at 100%. But basically, he says the arm that it is talking about. What angle do you put it in? It is difficult to give a hint for this, but arm bar. Now think about that. Like, wait a sec. You just added the word arm to bar. Arm bar bodies to join together or to connect. Then that means the bar needs to be something that can bind. We look at the image,
That
and
might have been a mistype from me. I'd have to go back and check.
okay,
Armbar bodies. That might have just mistyped something.
okay, well, that's pretty important.
Well,
Here's
let's check. Let me just check Phil's too, because Phil's translations are pretty spot on as well. See what Phil says. This hint's difficult to present. Arm can be seen as literal human arms. However, a bar usually means a horizontal bar and then followed by binds, connect. So it seems to be translated specifically to parallel bar or the like. That's what Phil's translation says. Let me look at. I really need to lay this out better. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. It's got to be a
All right, all
it's
right.
got to be a
Let's just
mistype. I don't understand.
let's just say it's 85% accurate. Even
Okay.
if it's 85, George, can you
Either
pull the
way,
fairy?
it's talking about a bar that binds things together.
Yeah, could you pull the fairy down a little bit into the screen? In, all right, all right. So what I'm suggesting here is this. I'm suggesting that these two lines below the bar that binds, they don't exist in reality. So if you're in that park and you're looking for a bar that binds, you're never going to find it. If you're in that park and you're looking for the long palm shadow, you're never going to find it because it's a clue of the alternate plane. It's a clue that's, for better word, embedded in the image. If you look at this image, if you look at her hands, all right, you see that she's got bracelets. That we'll say that they're bracelets, but we now know that at one point Ariel was imprisoned. We're going to call these shackles. So she's got a shackle on her right and her left. She's got her hands together, and there's a shadow under her hands that looks very much like a palm tree. And it let's just, again, you gotta use your mind and you gotta be creative. But maybe that's the long palm shadow. So if we think about something below the bar that binds, beside the long palm's shadow, embedded in the sand, waits the fair remuneration, White House close at hand. You got to fold the painting. You got to fold the painting, and that's what Byron Price is trying to tell you in the Japanese clues. If you had the knowledge from the Tempest that you knew that she was imprisoned in a pine, you would have that. You would look at her legs, and you could say, "Okay, it moves as we look at it. We're going to fold this. We're going to fold this image. We're going to fold it from our left to right, just like our legs are." If you look at where the edges of the lower wings come down. George, could you move a cursor around right where you see next to her legs? You're going to see, if you go down, you're going to see the little faint lines on the left and right. See the little faint lines that go down?
Over wings? Yeah.
You see how they go down?
Yeah.
Right, right there. You're going to fold that painting so that those two lines touch. And then you're going to go and you're going to use the upper part to fold her shackles so that the shackles are not two shackles, they become one shackle. They're they're the bar that binds. And something's going to pop up in the image. And I feel so bad. I can't share this image with you, but I'm just going to show you on my phone because I have it. And again, it's inferior. But basically, this is what you're going to come up with.
You gotta kind of put it in front of your face. Yeah. That's not helpful. Just email it to me. I'll show it to everybody.
All right.
Or
This one, George.
if is it easier to text it to me if I give you my number?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me email you.
Yeah, actually it is.
Let me email you my
It is.
number. I'm just gonna be like, my number
So what?
is.
Yeah. Well, you're a rock star, George. I mean, you don't want to go broadcasting your number out there. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty crazy.
Having said that, please don't broadcast my number.
No. Your secret's safe with me.
Thank you.
Uh,
There you go.
all right, let me. You like football, George? It's 31-20 the Seahawks.
Oh, nice. Not a
It is a
huge football
football.
fan.
It is a football Sunday.
I like the Super Bowl, so it'll be nice to see who's going to the Super Bowl. But I only like the Super Bowl because it's like a spectacle. Friends get together and all have dinner and stuff, you know. That's the only reason I care.
Yeah, I mean, great game early in New England in the snow. That was pretty wild. All right, George, I think I got something that I'm going to be able to send you here in a second.
Okay.
It'll pop up again. It's a crude image because my printer was not optimal at the time.
That's fine. Give me like 30 seconds. Just talk about it. Give me 30 seconds and I'll have it on the screen.
All right, so I just emailed George an image, and what I'm suggesting here all along, just as a recap, if Byron was going to bury a cast near one of the cannons, which I believe he did, and there are 4 of the same cannon, he would have to, within the puzzle, show you or lead you to what cannon he was talking about. So I've been talking this whole time about different monuments and different landmarks that lead you to Church Street. And that monument that we're talking about, it's going to be the Moultrie Monument, is right in the center, lines up with Church Street. That's where the line White House at hand becomes important. So basically, the ferry's gone. We imprisoned her. And what you're looking at right there, down at the bottom, you're looking down at the bottom, that's a cannon. You see that round circle?
Mm-hmm.
That's a 13-inch cannon. And basically what you're looking at is a box. That's the cask. So basically the top portion becomes an arrow. He's pointing down. So the upper wings are an arrow. The fairy is now entrapped. She, we entrapped her in the pine. And basically you got that 13-inch cannon right there. So in that image, that box that you see, it's a perfect box. That box is the cask. So I'm positing the dig spot, and here it is, my dig spot. At the back of that monument on Church Street, White House close at hand. You're right on the corner. You're at the water's edge of White Point Garden. You're looking straight down at all 3 of the monuments. You see the Villa Margarita, which is the White House, and there it is. Now, the question then becomes, and if you look at that, how in the world, I mean, you got to be one hell of an artist to be able to do that. And how he did that, it's mind-boggling. But basically, if you look at that 13-inch cannon, and I think, George, at this point, if you had an image, it'd be pretty cool if you could bring it up.
Sure.
That's what it looks like. The question is it right in front of the cannon, or is it right on the side next to the wheel? The entire cannon is covered with brick, so the bricks would have to come up. There's your cannon right near that truck, right above that truck there.
Sorry.
It's all right. See the side of the cannon, by the way. Basically, the side of that cannon was what I was talking about with Ariel's sash.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same kind of shape as that cannon. Now, if you look at this cannon along that side, there are 4 of them. That's the one that's closest to the top of the park. So basically, that's on the south side of the park. You're on the south side of the battery. There are 4 of them. This is the one that's at the top. if you look at the cannon in the book that I showed you, if you look at it in this book, you could see it almost looks like that cannon was moved forward. So where you have space and brick now, it's kind of set back a little bit. Just want to see if I can show you one more time from this book. But here's actually the picture.
You're gonna put it in front of your face. Yeah.
Yeah. Good? No good?
No, move it. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Okay.
So if you look at this image, and this book was, I don't know, 1978, there's not a lot of room for him to actually bury it, and it doesn't look like he could have buried it in front of the cannon. So I'm going to say that that cask is right on the side of that cannon. And I'll just give you a recap. And basically, that's my dig spot.
On the side of the cannon? Okay.
Kind of close to the wheel. Because again, if you look at it in the photo of this book,
yeah,
that 13-inch cannon looks much closer to the curb, that it looks like there's just a concrete curb in front of it. Whereas if you were to pick the picture that you just showed where it is now, you're going to see at least a foot of brick in front of that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Which wheel?
The wheel that's closest to the White House. So basically, right on the pathway. The wheel that's right on the side.
You want to dig on the path? You would say dig on the path.
No, it's actually the cannon isn't exactly on the path. It's on the corner.
Yeah.
It's got to be 2 feet in, right, George? It's got to be 2 feet from the actual path. The gravel dirt path that we're walking on. It's not gravel, but it's densely packed dirt.
Okay, so I'm confused. The 13-inch cannon is actually a 13-inch mortar, and it's the kind of stubby cannon, right?
Yes.
And on one side of that is brick all the way to the path, and on the other side of that is brick and then cannonballs and then dirt. So which one are we?
The opposite side of the cannonballs.
Okay, so it's brick until path.
Yeah. Well, obviously, it wasn't brick in 1982.
Okay.
If you look at the images here, there's no brick in this book.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure, George, you would know better than I would, but do you know when the bricks were put in?
No.
Because you could just go back a few years and they weren't there.
No, I don't. I'm going to go back and see if I can't figure that out. It's just okay. There's that. Let's do history. Nah, the aerials aren't good enough. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at.
Yeah, well, let me just give you a definitive. The definitive is like this book was written in 78.
I mean, I got that.
And I mean, you could look at it. The bricks aren't there.
Yeah, but when was that photo taken? Like, just because the book came out in 78 doesn't mean the photo was taken in 78.
I'm actually going to say that, George, if you go into some images from 5 years ago, I don't think the bricks were there 5 years
They
ago.
were 100% there 5 years ago. Hang on, let me just go find that book.
Say that part again.
They were 100% there 5 years ago.
Okay.
Because I was there 5 years ago.
All right.
Give me like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
How many books? All right. I'm just going to admit defeat on this one because I can't find that book. Does anybody in the comments know when that stuff was put in? 'Cause I can't. Let me check my Charleston folders. Doing this.
By the way,
I
how's
can't
the
find
weather
it.
there?
It's like 82. It's fine. I know
Massive
that
snowstorm here on the East Coast.
that probably sucks for you. It's probably below 0 at the moment.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
But yeah, it's like it's nothing here. I was making fun of all of my friends up north, sending them pictures of the thermometer on my car. Just driving around town and it's 82 degrees. Charleston, there we go.
But anyway, you're looking for a photo? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's just, you can keep talking. I'm just looking.
Yeah. So I just want to just give a recap of the things that I talked about. And again, I apologize I didn't have those photos, but let me just say this: there's a lot of material here. It's a very complex puzzle. But again, the Japanese hints for this puzzle, the biggest thing that made me think that there was really something else going on here was if you really think of all the romance retold, Treasure Island is not a romance. Treasure Island was written, I don't know, late 1700s.
Yeah.
And that Japanese clue that Byron says, if you think about romance, middle-aged Europe, that doesn't tie in to Treasure Island.
Figure out when this book that I'm about to reference came out.
George, I might as well send you another photo.
So they were there in 1973.
The bricks were there in 73
The bricks were there in 73.
on Church Street,
Yeah.
on the monument of Church Street.
Yeah. So were the cannonballs and all of that was there. Let me double check. Let me double check. I'm keep looking because I don't want to say that and be like, but I've got a picture of it from 60s, 70s. I
Again,
can't 100%
this
date this photo.
I don't know if that helps anybody, but that, by the way, that cannon that I'm showing you, that's on just the opposite side of that 13-inch mortar. The reason why I'm showing it to you is because there's brick now in this photo. There was no brick. If you look at the cannonballs also, they're on like a concrete platform. The front of the 13-inch mortar is also a concrete platform. And if you look at it now, the brick is level with the concrete platform. So, yeah, I mean, again, this is 1977, but
I gotta flip this image around. I don't know, maybe, yeah, okay. So this is 73, maybe that's not brick, maybe it is just sand. Alright, so here's another one I found.
yeah, that's the one, George.
Yeah, okay.
See how I'm talking about the concrete platforms?
Yeah, yeah.
So if you look at it now, basically that's it. That's the cannon that I'm talking about. And I'm what I'm saying is that cannon is pulled right up to the curb. All right. So he couldn't have put it in front because it's right up to the curb. He would have put it on the side, kind of next to the wheel, or he could have put it in the corner, but definitely on that dirt. Now, if you look at the image, if you pull up an image of it now, so basically this image that you have, that's what I'm looking at in the book. That's actually from the book.
Right.
You have an image match in the fairy sash, which is that white blotch of paint, and it's the same kind of shape. So basically, you have that kind of image match inner sash to that riveted metal, that steel that you're looking at. You have the 13-inch mortar. It's round. It's got a round center, which is blocked out. And you have nothing in the verse that's going to tell you where to dig. He's going to put below the bar that binds next to a long palm shadow, but that doesn't really make any sense. Shadows don't work. I'm pretty sure most people would agree with that. You're going to look for shadow and dig. I mean, so yeah, I mean that's where I'm at.
All right. I'm still just looking for photos.
But by the way, the Tempest, really cool piece of work. Again, really in the 1970s is when it really started to be studied as being analogous to slavery. And there's the story of slavery that continues.
Okay.
Now, it could be coincidence that there is a fairy that happens to be trapped in a cloven pine. You do have the pine that's in the image. You have the image of Shakespeare. By the way, George, I sent you. Are you able to pull up that other thing I sent you?
Oh, you sent me another one. I didn't even notice. Sorry.
And just put that up there, just to be able to kind of see what I'm talking about.
Seriously? Okay.
Seriously,
All right.
put it up.
All right, I'll do it. I'll do it. Hey, give me a second. I like this image. Just 1 second. I'm gonna just send it to myself.
This clue is so goofy, but it's definitely something that Byron would have done, in my opinion.
I agree on the goofy part. I don't know if I agree on the something Byron would do,
Okay,
but I'm going to
but
put it up.
let me say this: I do believe that throughout the years, there's a play on words with Shakespeare and a pear.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with that.
So I really do believe, again, if you look at the image of Shakespeare, you could see that silhouette in the top of the lion's forehead, very well known face. You could see the pear on the tree. And Byron even says in the beginning of the book, if one is playful, he will find them, like, playful to certain clues.
Right.
And if you look at the back of the book and you actually look at the photos of Byron, John Jude Palancar, these guys, they're wise guys. They're guys that would definitely kind of do something like that and really kind of. I mean, we know that there's misdirection in the paintings because JJP admitted that. He actually said that there's misdirection. So, in my opinion, that misdirection is really evident in this Charleston image in the forehead of the lion.
Okay.
People have been looking for that for a long time, and nobody can come up with an image match for it.
Okay.
But anyway, that's what I think. I think all along the puzzle, you're kind of directed to Church Street, which lines up to where this cannon is. There are really similar connections to the Tempest. The ship is actually coming from Africa. There's a ferry. There's an African fang mask, which actually was written about in the 1970s, where an author actually used Caliban, and the name of the book is called Masks. It's definitely worth thinking about. It's definitely worth thinking about.
Okay. I mean, I don't disagree with the area you're wanting to dig. I mean, I think that was one of the podcast guys' spot for a while was around that, around that.
That specific one?
Around that around that cannon. He dug all behind it in the corner by the cannons. He dug all over the place.
But just to be clear, there are 3 others of that cannon.
No, that cannon.
Of that mortar.
That specific cannon.
Yeah.
So to be fair, dude lived in Charleston. He probably dug all the monuments, but
yeah,
he dug that one.
So I also wanted to share something,
mm-hmm.
and it's very specific to the people who were at the Cleveland meetup.
Oh.
So if you're at the Cleveland meetup, there was there were some clues that were talked about, that JJP had that talked about. So I believe the back of the book, the field guide, every single one of those is an actual clue. They actually give you a clue
You're
to
aware that
different verses in the
Byron
puzzle.
said the back of the book holds no clues.
Absolutely. I'm aware that he said that. I'm also aware of some other things that he said that just weren't accurate.
Fair enough.
But specifically, there are specific clues in the back of the book that lead to different verses within the puzzle. So if you turn and you turn to page 100, you're going to get the pre-revolutionary warlock. So the pre-revolutionary warlock, there's a photo there, and you're going to see some military gear in the back.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the military gear and you look at the photo, you're going to see a very specific helmet that's in the bottom. That helmet is a World War I doughboy.
Okay.
That World War I doughboy is in the Cleveland image. The sorter or the centaur is actually wearing that helmet. So we have an association with that and the puzzle, the Cleveland image.
You're also
If
aware
you
that
look,
Ben said Byron had no input on his pictures whatsoever.
well, I disagree with that. I let me just say this to
He's
you.
lying.
He could have said, like
Okay.
he told him, just like he told him. He told him I was in Washington, and he said, "Take a picture of the Capitol."
Okay.
He essentially kind of told him to take a picture while he was there in Washington,
He said
D.C.
take a fair photo, take a picture of the Capitol.
Yeah, but anyway, let me get to the clue. I understand what people said. I get that Byron said the back of the book means nothing. I actually believe that it does. When you look at the pre-revolutionary warlock and you scroll down, you're going to see, and this is why I say it's specific to the people who are at the Cleveland meetup, where he says there's a line that's kind of on the left-hand side down towards the bottom. He leads us on grade school field trips, and just that little bit is a clue that John Jude Palancar actually mentioned at the Cleveland meetup. So you have an association. That's an actual clue, and that clue is kind of just that. It's grade school field trips.
Okay.
So again, like I'm saying, I think the whole back of the book, and you could disagree. I know Byron said it means nothing, but JJP has actually come out and said that he left clues in the sketches. There are sketches in the back of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ben said Byron had no input on his photos.
But if you would have just accept that at face value, the same way that Byron said, there's nothing.
You're not going to accept that at face value. Why are you accepting John saying he's got clues in his art at face value? I mean, if you're not going to accept what Byron said, if you're not going to accept what Ben and Byron said, why are you accepting what John said at face value? But going further than that, if you're not going to accept what Byron said at face value, why are you going to accept there's only 12 treasures? Why are you going to accept that this treasure hunt only exists within this book? Why accept anything? Like, why would he lie about that? Why would he publish a book and then say, hey, man, look, don't worry about half of this book. It doesn't matter. Why would he say that? What would be his point?
Well, I think also at some point,
make it harder.
And you could be completely right. You could be absolutely you could be right. But I'm kind of listening to what JJP had said.
That he put
and
art. He put hints in his art.
At some point, he specifically mentioned that he always thought that Byron kind of went back and left things in the back of the book.
Right, but how would he leave this?
What do you mean leave it?
Well, he said, okay, he said
But
that.
just
How would that work? How would that work?
well, I think just the way that JJP said it. He said he thought that after the writers came in and wrote it, that he thought that Byron actually went in. Remember, he's an editor, and he actually went in there and kind of put some things into the verses, clues, if you will. And he actually, at one point, he mentions the fact that he talks about the Cleveland painting, the Cleveland cask. And what he says is, hey, Byron, they just changed the name of the street. The name of the street is now Martin Luther King Drive or something like that. And Byron's response was, good. It adds another layer. So all I'm saying is the possibility does exist that Byron didn't, want to tell people, that you got to use the back of the book. Maybe he wanted people to be able to discover an association with the back of the book and get clues.
So he was willing to lie.
I mean, you call it what you okay.
I mean, that's a lie.
He lied. I mean, you didn't find consistencies with other things that Byron said along the way. I
mean,
I don't know. I just
not about the book itself. Like there are inconsistencies in like timelines, like it took me X amount of time to bury these. It took me Y amount of time to bury these. That really has no bearing on the puzzle itself. It has no bearing on the book itself. It's just sort of book publishing speak or whatever. I mean, there's several inconsistencies like that, but none of them affect the puzzle. I mean, even when Byron was talking to Brian and Andy after they had found the Cleveland cask, he said there was nothing in the back of the book that was helpful. I mean, he's never strayed from that.
All right, but the issue that I have with that is if we have John Jude Palancar saying that he thought that Byron kind of went back and put some things in there. Again,
John Palancar could say he thinks there's...
And then he's actually going back and he's saying that he actually put clues into the images that he drew.
Yeah.
And there are works of John Jude Palancar in the back of the book. Then we got to get it straight. Then we say, wait a minute.
Well,
the artist who's still here is actually telling us that there are clues
that he put in his work
in the back of the book.
Yeah, he worked on portions. He worked on portions of the puzzle, and then he worked on portions of the back of the book. He's well within his right to know what the hell is in his puzzle. He could put it in the back of the book. Ben didn't work on the part of the puzzle. Ben didn't know. Ben just took pictures. And Byron specifically said 2 times, there's nothing back there. Don't worry about it. I mean, just because John thinks something, like John could think Byron put a tea kettle on the moon. That doesn't mean there's a tea kettle on the moon.
But let me say this. John Jude Palancar has works in the back of the book.
Yeah.
You would agree with that.
Yeah, but the pre-revolutionary warlock isn't one of them.
So John Jude Palancar has also said that he put clues in his work that appear in the back of the book.
Yeah.
So Byron's wrong if he says there's nothing in the back of the book.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right. Fine.
Would
That's
you
fine.
agree with that?
But does that have any effect on the pre-revolutionary warlock?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it really belies the fact that Byron's saying, there's nothing in the back of the book. If you take it at face value, there's an inconsistency there because
all right.
JJP said it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We could agree. Here's the deal. I don't really care who uses the back of the book because like if Byron's saying it twice, doesn't matter. If Ben and Joellen saying they had nothing to do with it, doesn't matter. If Sean and Ted saying that they didn't even care about the treasure hunt, had nothing to do with the treasure hunt, and wrote their portions before the treasure hunt even existed, doesn't matter. And if the fact that the back of the book, or the book itself, tells you all you need is the the paintings of the verses. If that doesn't matter, then it's fine. But to most people, it matters, and that's where you're going to run into the problems with the back of the book.
Yeah.
Because if you're willing to ignore all of that, I mean, like, what else are you willing to ignore? And we could just go wherever we want.
Right, but one thing that we're just not going to ignore is what JJP told us. He even said it at the Cleveland meetup.
Yeah.
That he
so the only person that said that they've put any clues in the back of the book is John. So if you're looking for clues, focus on his stuff.
All right, so you stipulate that there are clues in the back of the book.
No, I don't, because nobody's ever found anything. And John says he put stuff in the back of the book, but it could be in the same way he said that there's nods to The Secret in other paintings, and it's just one painting of a cask that no one would have ever figured out if he hadn't pointed it out to us. Like, no, I don't stipulate that.
Okay. I'm surprised that you say that, but we can agree to disagree. We got two differing schools of thought.
Yeah.
We have JJP telling us that he put things in the back of the book.
But let me
know that his work appears in the back of the book.
Yep.
And then Byron's saying there's nothing in the back of the book. Who's right?
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, I agree with you. If John says he put something in the back of the book and Byron said there's nothing back there, then he was wrong. John obviously put something in his art. However, stop. Every time I talk, you're like, wait, stop. Let me interrupt.
No. My apologies. I'm not trying to.
I mean, I'm not trying to argue with you here. What I'm saying is there's a vast difference between John saying he put stuff in his secondary art and saying that the back of the book is just full of shit and Byron doesn't know what he's talking about. When only four artists had work in the back of the book, right? 4 artists, 2 of which have said none of their work contains any clues. John Perard's never said anything one way or another. And John said there's elements in his sketches that contain clues. But what does he mean by that? Because nobody's ever really found anything.
Yeah. So one of the things that I also heard Palancar say was everyone was compartmentalized.
Yeah, except for him and John.
People were working on different pieces of the book, right?
Yeah.
And they may not have been privy to certain information that was taking place.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, but he might have. I mean, the images, like the photos. Let's just. All right, we'll agree. Ben Ace had said, Byron just told me to take a picture. These images are images of something. So he basically told Ben, just take pictures or whatever. We'll throw them in the back of the book.
Kind of. Didn't he say that Byron was only with him on one picture? It was the Spirit of 76, and they had to duct tape the figure to the ferry. And then the rest of them were just like, oh, you're going to Florida, take a fair folk. Oh, you're going to Washington, take a fair folk. You're going to go to California, take a fair folk.
But George, do you and I've heard this. I mean, again, I'm not really part of the community.
Yeah.
Do you believe that the Latin titles that people are searching for contain any meaning?
I don't know. They could. Some of them definitely could. I mean, that's a portion of the book that wasn't in the manuscripts really, right? Like, it's something that probably Byron added. If you're going to look for clues in the back of the book, I would stick to things that Byron definitely added, like subtitles for pictures or, scientific names or whatever. But then,
I think people are looking for clues in the back of the book. I could be wrong. I can see that you're adamant, and that's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Dude, this is an argument that's as old as time, and it will continue. And I have nothing against you, and please don't take this as me like I'm not trying to insult you, and I'm not trying to pick a fight.
No,
this is just a conversation.
No, absolutely. But yeah, I do think that the back of the book contains clues to the riddles in the front.
Yeah.
You can
So-
put me in that. You can put me in that category.
It's weird to me that so many of the back of the book people, like, they get so specific. But if back of the book people would come out and say things like, I think they're just broad clues. We had the Chicago World's Fair, and one's buried in Chicago. Like, I would get on board with that. The description of the Chicago World's Fair totally describes Grant Park. Would get on board with that. But when it's like there's a doughboy hat here, but that would mean Byron would have to tell Ben to take a specific sculpture to a specific place and take it next to a specific exhibit. And Ben was like, he just didn't have that kind of input.
I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know where he took it. I'm thinking he took it up in West Point. West Point has a museum up there.
I think Ben said in his interview where all of this was. Because I remember that because somebody on Facebook tracked down the museum and like that shit's still there. Because they were curious what those cards said. And the museum sent them a picture of the cards. So it's somewhere on Facebook. But that was years and years and years ago. So I can't even imagine finding it now. Somebody in the comments will find it, I'm sure. And when they do, I'll send it to you. Because this photo was one of the main reasons that we started talking to Ben about his art in the back of the book.
Yeah. But I do think that there are other, not just photos, but other things in the book that have associations with the puzzle.
Yeah.
We're talking specifically photos, right?
No, we talk about whatever. Like, I could get behind the art. Like, Perard drew a painting of a shuttle taking off, which directly relates to Houston. And then there's that construction with the 82, even though it was drawn in 82, the 82 train and the big H beam. Like, dude, I could totally get behind some of this stuff. It's when people start getting laser focused and saying, like, the back of the book is the linchpin of this puzzle. You know what I'm saying? That's when I tune out.
I don't think it's the linchpin. I do think that there are things that are basically like Japanese clues.
Yeah.
They're just they're just little hints that are in the back of the book. I want to give you another photo. I'll throw it out there if I could find it. And again, Ben Asen, I don't know. I mean, he could have just said, hey, Byron could have told him, hey, just take a picture of your basement workshop. I don't know, but
the 222?
Yeah.
That was his wife's father. Yeah, he legitimately said, because we talked about that photo, that it was just pure coincidence.
Right. I would look at also page 187. If you look at page 187, it's the Postmonster General.
Postmonster General. Isn't that one like... Let's see. Didn't we get like a photo of this and that letter was addressed to Michael Jackson or something? I think. I don't remember. Okay, I'm looking at 187.
All right, so if you take the Cleveland image, we'll stick with the Cleveland image, and you would juxtapose that Cleveland image with this image, you're going to see some similarities. So basically, the mailbox, you're going to see the archway of the mailbox. If you look at the Cleveland painting, you're going to see the archway that has the columns. You're going to see trees in the background, the same way that you see trees in the background of the Cleveland painting. If you look into the verse, you're going to see reference to the centaur. And he basically says, centaur in reverse, a creature with hindquarters of a horse. So there's a similarity there. I do think that there are more things within that, but look at those two images, and then is it coincidence that the verbiage just mentions the centaur? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to give you another one. I mean, mugwumps or something like that.
Mugwumps. Yeah.
All right. So the deal with the mugwumps, in my opinion, now this is a JJP painting, and you look at the actual image of the mugwump, and you juxtapose it with the castle hat image of Chicago. You're going to see those creatures. They kind of look similar.
The
You kind of
mug,
look at the eyes.
the Mugwumps is the Nixon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you look at the eyes and you see some things around the eyes. And these creatures kind of look the same. You look at Nixon down there, and basically you're coming up with Nixon in 1968, the Republican convention. You can kind of look in the verbiage here and kind of go to and think about the 1968 convention, the Democratic convention, and you're going to find ties to Grant Park.
Because of the
That was
riots?
a wild convention. Huh?
Because of the riots?
Yeah. There were the Democratic National Convention in 1968. The riots broke out and they ended up in Grant Park. So there is a kind of correlation with this, with the Nixon image, because it's the same year, 1968, the Republican convention. And again, I do kind of think that there are things in the verbiage that could contain a clue. Algonquian name, that's like a Chicago, the actual name of Chicago. But it's food for thought. I think it continues. I could be wrong, but
Mugwumps is an Algonquin name. I mean, that could be Milwaukee. Milwaukee is it's actually Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land. I learned that from Wayne's World.
yeah. I got to plug in. Can you?
Yeah, take your time, man. I've wanted for years to use that quote, and then I forgot it. It is the good land, right? I am not worthy, Jeff.
Jamil, do we have an extension cord?
Oh. Uh. I thought there was a fair folk that talked about the riots in Chicago.
Oh, maybe I could use this thing over here. No, I can't. You get it? All right. Well,
We had to get the wife to
working on
help. We have to get the wife to help.
Yeah,
I
I
often have to
gotta-
get the wife to help.
yeah.
They
I gotta,
know all.
locate an extension cord.
All right, no problem.
But anyway, that's what I got. I'm of the opinion there are things in the back of the book.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know people. Others may differ,
yeah,
but I think it's worth kind of looking into.
yeah.
I just don't think, and I know that people say Byron said this and Byron said that. I don't know if you could really again, these guys are wise guys, man. They're cracking jokes, and
Yeah.
I do think that they're tricky guys.
Yeah. I mean, so going back to your Charleston thing, probably 75% of your actual, like your actual park ideas, I think I agree with, but you took a very complex way of getting to them.
With the literary clues.
Yeah. Yeah. That was complex. Do you really feel that they're necessary? Because like, even when you were describing now, and people weren't necessarily following online. And I think it's important in the comments for people to understand, like, doing this makes you nervous, especially when you have a lot of information to get through. So the information gets choppy and it's sometimes hard to follow. So don't hold that against anybody who's ever on a Sunday Funday. But it seemed like most of the stuff, that the literary clues and what you had leading up to getting to the park, you could just throw away because you already had it at the park. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't really need it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I think they're in there, because I think they serve two purposes. I think it actually tells the story of slavery, which is important to the puzzle. But at the same time, they serve to make the puzzle a little bit more difficult because, as you said, to get to the dig site is kind of easy.
It's easy now. It's not easy. Wasn't easy then.
Could you get me water?
That's a good idea. Thank you, Miss C.
Within the puzzle, I just think that to get to the dig site is kind of easy because he gets you to Church Street. I mean, you mentioned that somebody was digging there. You could see a cross in the image.
Yeah, that's why they were at Church Street. Like, none of the other stuff really mattered. They were associating Church Street with the cross and King Street with the lion and yada, yada, yada. Like, a lot of the stuff in the image just seems to describe shit that's around White Point Gardens, and that's how they were using it.
Yeah. So I think it would have been easier if I would able to show you some images along the way, because
yeah, that makes it difficult.
Yeah, I do have some images, but I do think that when you get to the fold, I think that's pretty good. I mean, I think people do think that there is a fold.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, people think there's a fold, or you got to angle the image. There's something you got to play with the image in some way or another. So, who knows?
Yeah.
That's something to consider. Like, you're not on Facebook. You don't have things like gift giver clues.
I kind of heard a little bit.
About them?
I think you posted the horse.
Yeah.
Okay. Horse image.
We're making a wiki. We're making a wiki to try to consolidate all of this so that you don't have to be on Facebook or anything. Yeah. So, okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's all I got. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming out to Cleveland.
It was very cool.
I'm surprised you didn't meet anybody. Like, there was like a whole bunch of New Jersey searchers there.
Well, I mean, I certainly met Andy and Brian, and like I said, Cam. I think Sunday was one of the people who had come up to me. I think I met your wife as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
All right. Well, anything else? If there's not, we'll just cut the stream.
Yeah, that's all I got, man. But cool. I appreciate your time.
Well, don't leave yet. Thanks for coming on. We'll see everybody next week, I guess.